Hi, Jodie. Thank you very much for doing this for me today.
Hi,
I will
Stacey.
tell you, I'm not nervous, but I'm a little bit like, I feel like you're going to be a little bit mischievous with this. So we'll have to see where we go, lady. Yeah?
Well, we're trying, as we said, we're trying not to make a 12-part episode of Stacey Bauer with Stacey Bauer. So I've got a few good questions that I think everyone will enjoy hearing your answers to, but nothing too mischievous, as you say.
I don't believe you. Okay, let's go. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so the first question we've got is right at the start of your journey. What age did you realize that you had a spiritual connection?
So I was, do you know, I always remember being very young and wondering, like, when would I grow? When would I be big enough to uh I want to say move on. It would move out of home is what it was. But I remember having cabin beds as a young girl, and I shared a bedroom with my sister. And we had these white melamine cabin beds where underneath there were a desk and there was some a wardrobe. And I remember one night being told I'd had a nightmare, but a man was trying to come through my window. It came through my window. He walked through my window and pointed at me. And I obviously screamed. Now I must have been about 6 or 7 then. And my mum come running in and said I'd had a nightmare. It was just my mind. It was all that sort of thing. And that, the mind were a very, very powerful thing. And that's what it was. But now I know that actually I think spirit were trying to connect with me. So I must have been about 6, 7,
Right, so very early on.
very early on.
That would have petrified me.
Well, it did me. It did me, Jodie. There were a man walking through my window. People don't walk through
Yeah.
your bedroom windows, do they?
No.
No.
Obviously, the Stacey Bauer that you are today,
Yeah.
did her journey start when you were 6, or when did your spiritual journey begin?
So my actual spiritual journey began about 5 years ago, I think it is now. What the spiritual journey that I would say brought me here started about 5 years ago. When actually I'd lost both parents. Well, I'd lost my mum, and then my dad died 3 years later. And it was during lockdown where I think that quite a lot of people awakened during lockdown. It was like the time to level up. We needed a lot of people working for spirit and working to raise the energy. And that's where my like reawakening, if you like, came. I remember going out with dog one day and just walking down Main Street where I live, just walking down, and this almost wave of feathers came from behind me and gushed in front of me. Now, when I say a wave of feathers, I had to look round because I thought there's a bird obviously died just above my head, and all it's been attacked or something. It was the strangest thing you've ever seen in your life. But it like have you watched Spiderwick Chronicles where she comes on the
Yes.
little fairies and it was like that. It was the strangest thing. And I was like, I looked round because I was like, this what's going on? It was the craziest thing. I looked up, I'm looking round, I thought it was gonna be a dead bird at the back of me, nothing. And then as soon as I turned back, it had gone. Oh, what is happening? I thought I was going mental, but I was dreaming. There were all sorts of things happening. So that's how it came around again about 5 years ago.
Right, okay. So that's obviously very interesting. What would your advice be to anyone who is sort of experiencing this right now?
Well, if you look above you and there's not a dead bird, and your patch covered with feathers, you're probably having a bit of a spiritual awakening. But on it, the things that happened to me, and I'm like, don't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it's all spirit. So things like vivid dreaming, synchronicities, things you cannot, things that are happening to you, and you're like, well, I feel like I'm going mad. Chances are you're not going mad. Spirit's just trying to connect with you. That's all. And I say that's all. It's. I feel like it's a right crazy time, but brilliant all in one. So if you're doing anything like that, just know that you're perhaps not stuck here
Not going
somewhere.
to end up.
Yeah, perhaps you're not going to sit rocking somewhere in a chair. Perhaps it's actually that, you know, you might be having a
Granddad's trying to
spiritual
get
awakening.
you.
Yeah, you might be having a spiritual awakening. So I would look for groups, that sort of thing, like-minded people where you can find like-minded people where you are free to speak and free to say, this happened to me, what do you think? Without fear of feeling silly, feeling odd, you're the odd one out, that sort of thing.
Perfect. Okay, that sounds good. Obviously, you are an out and out full medium. You're not afraid to show it,
No.
which obviously is quite difficult for some people um,
Mm,
who are starting out on their journey because of um, the way people view mediumship and
yeah.
that we are crazy and that we're seeing things and we're making things up. How did your friends and family react when you shared your gift?
Well, because a lot of my close friends, and I don't have a massive amount of family, to be honest. So a lot of my close friends, I'd been giving them like, not readings by any means, but saying things like, oh, well, it's like one of my friends, her husband were having an affair. And I said, well, you know, to me, it were blatant, but to everybody else, it wasn't. And obviously that was spirit showing me that that's what were happening. So then when things come out, people go, well, how did you know? I'm like, well, how did everybody not know? It were all like that to me. So I don't think anybody took it like, oh my God, what's happened to you all of a sudden? Because I feel like it was gradual. It's like my sister. I mean, I'd been told by mediums for years. There was one lady one day and she come to me and we were upstairs in a pub and she come to me and she said, when are you going to start realising that you're not going to unleash the devil if you start working with spirit? And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. Frighten myself to death. I'm like, oh my, what do you mean? She went, nothing bad's going to happen. She says, you could write a book on the things that have happened to you already. And my sister went, you've always been doing this. You've always known this. She always knows other. And I did. I just knew stuff. I just knew. So I don't think it was a massive shock to anybody. But some people now that are really close friends that I haven't seen for a while might go, oh, how have you got into that and be interested? But I didn't have any worry or fear of saying, well, actually, this is the path I've taken. So I think I'm
And
quite
have
lucky
you
like
ever
that,
had
actually.
any of that worry?
Never.
Never. That's
Never.
that's obviously like different for a lot of people.
Yes,
Um,
massively different.
when you're like say out socializing or meeting new people, do you find it sometimes difficult to say, you know, I am a medium as a job? Or you know, when you meet people and they say, what do you do for work? And you just come out and say a medium, how do they react? And I think that's
Well,
important for new people because
yeah,
that is the hardest part is coming out essentially as a medium, I
it
find.
is. It is. But to be honest, because I have this attitude where it is what it is for me, I don't worry about what people think. In fact,
Mm.
I quite like, I remember, well, I quite like the shock value on people's face. I quite
Yeah.
enjoy that, to be honest. I quite enjoy not making people feel uncomfortable, but like putting it on people's toes sometimes. And some people will go, all right, what's that? They don't know what it is.
Right.
So when you say, oh, you know, I'd speak to spirit, and they'll say, what do you mean spirit? And I said, dead people, people that have died. They go, oh dear, all right, oh, right. And it's more like intrigue, I think, for people. So I understand with people, some people we were brought up in a Catholic school. We were never religious, but we were brought up in a Catholic school, primary and secondary, because apparently that were the best school in the area. But some people went to that church because they believed in God as a person, the disciples and all that. It was their religion. I get that. So for some people, they've been brought up with heavy religion. So this is seen as like devil's work or it's bad or something
Yeah.
like that. So I understand that there's a lot of people that wouldn't want to discuss with friends or family. But to me, when I'm out and about and people say to me, what do you do for work? I say, I'm a medium. They'll go, oh, they're in a box for that. What else would you call yourself?
Yeah.
Do you like if you try to do your insurance out? There isn't like medium there, is there? It's all like holistic therapist. It's this, it's that, and the other. So
Yeah.
I just say, oh, it's more like, you know, like spiritual coaching or something like that. I sell crystals. They all go, oh, I'll put that down. That's fine. Sells the crystals. That's more normal. That's fine.
Sales.
Yeah. Sales
She fixed the
manager.
box there.
Yeah.
It is bad that that isn't a job option because obviously you are using it as a job. It is a
That is
job
what my
for
job
you.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
On
So that should be fair.
HMRC, I'm a spiritual medium, if you please.
Oh, there we go.
If you please.
HMRC, all official.
HMRC.
So the next question, what has been the most rewarding moment for you being a medium healer?
So, most rewarding. Well, some people would, some people will measure success on what they get or what they see as growth. So, I know some people feel like if their like Facebook page or their following is at a certain amount, they're succeeding.
Mhm.
My personal measure of success is when somebody comes back to me and says, hey, you were right about that. You got so and so through, you got my son through, you got my husband through, you got my mum through, you got this through. And you know what you said came to fruition. It were correct. Or when people said to me, do you know, I came away from that healing and I feel so much more settled within myself. That's what does it for me. That's what there were one person that sticks out to me massively. I won't mention her name or anything like that. And her partner had taken his own life. And I met her on a Zoom call, and the guilt she felt for her partner passing was absolutely so big she could not cope with day-to-day life. And there were a point where actually she was talking about taking her own life.
Gosh.
Now, because I'm quite outspoken and because I say it quite, don't get me wrong, I'm always very tasteful. I will always be, you know, I will always be nice to people. I would never be nasty with people, but I do speak quite straight. And when I put on her toes what she'd been thinking and what she'd discussed with people and the things that had happened between her and her partner, she would absolutely like, I can't believe the things you've told me. And that settled her, so she didn't want to take her own life. Well, to me, that's the biggest reward you can ever have. That
Oh,
would,
yeah.
that is one of the things where when I look back, I think, do you know what? If I achieve nothing else, or if my career doesn't go any further upwards, I've been the speaker for Spirit to help that young lady, and that's
Mhm.
perfect for me.
Yeah. That as a medium, you do see like a lot of people obviously that look for guidance and look for help. And I think
Absolutely,
it's huge, isn't it? What you can give
it's
people. And
massive.
like you say, that's got to be a moment where you think, I've really helped that person and they're choosing to stay now. That
That's it. That's the thing. That is the
it's
thing.
bigger than any money or
That's
anything that
it.
you could ever
Or any
receive.
like 1,000 followers on Facebook or what have you. It's not
Yeah.
about the amount of. It's about somebody came to me with a need, and I managed to speak to her partner and give her what she needed. And to me, that's all we'd ever need. That's perfect for me.
Definitely. That is something else, isn't it?
Mm,
On the back of that, obviously, that's quite a heavy message
yeah.
to receive and to give to somebody. How do you handle the emotional weight of the work? I know you are like quite light, and like you say, you do talk straight, but you never give it in a bad way. How do you go away from these messages that save someone's life, for example, and go back to Stacey Bauer?
So Stacey Bauer in herself is quite well, you know her very well, Jodie. She's quite
But the
she's
listeners might
quite
not.
she's how would I describe me? I would describe me in a way that's like I'm quite sensitive in a way, actually. I
Yeah.
am quite sensitive in a way. But I'm also very much like, I will say how it is, but I don't take anything lightly either. So when I get a message like that, I will always go back and thank Spirit. And I always ask, why would you bring that to me? Why
Mhm.
would I give that message? You know, because at the end of the day, it's not actually me. I haven't found the message. Spirit have brought it to me so I can give it over. So why would you allow me to be that person? But there's also a lot of gratitude then, because I feel then that I feel quite special that they've given it to me because they know how I will pass it over. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what I do then is then I go and you know what I normally do? It spurs me on to work, and it's the strangest thing. It spurs me on to bring like new ideas. So that message was so powerful for that woman. How can we improve that? What can we do to make that different? How can we get that message to other people that need it? What can I do then to put the word out further? And that's then when you get 48,000 voice notes going, Jodie, Jodie, why don't we just, Jodie, what about this? What do you think about that? Jodie, listen to this one. Jodie, let me just tell you this. How do you think I'd do this? And you go, right, let's just take a breath now, Stacey. And I think sometimes it's I don't do the coming down grounding that I should do, perhaps. And that's when a lot of the time I'm very, very ungrounded and my
Mhm.
head's up here all the time, thinking about 48 different things. And
Yeah.
that's sometimes then when I go to Dion and I say, right, Dion, my earth's star chakra is like needing some grounding. Can you put me right back down?
Can you rein
So,
me in because you're doing Jodie's head in?
can you bring me back to somewhere where I'm a bit like, I know I sound like I'm normal. Yeah, so I think a lot of it is like I need a massive amount of grounding. But do you
Mhm.
know what? Like laughing, that sort of thing brings me back down. The
Yeah.
this is going to sound a bit odd, but I'm going to say it anyway. Uh, do you know when I've had like a really good reading or a really good message or a really good meditation session? I get loud. Now that might be a shock to somebody that I'm ever not loud, but sometimes I'm not loud. But I get right loud where I feel like I need to shout, but not in a nasty way, but more of a like top of my voice, you know what I mean? A bit like that. So if ever you see me and I'm properly loud, I've probably just had a right good connection with spirit. That's what I'm blaming it on
Because you're
anyway.
excited about what you do.
That's it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I just feel like I need to make some notes from this session, like source of my problems, Stacey giving readings.
Uh,
I need to look at your calendar and see when you have readings so that I just turn my phone off after
turn it
that.
off. Yeah. Jodie's unavailable again. I don't know what's happening.
No, I enjoy listening to the madness that you bring.
We should
Um,
we should put it all together one day and let people listen to it. I think it'd be nice that.
oh my God, if we took our voice notes, one minute we're here, next minute we're here, and then I'm like, whoa, 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 wait, Stacey, hold on. And then I'm like, will you ask Spirit? Can you ask Spirit?
Yeah,
We are all over the shop. It would
yeah,
make
but
a funny podcast, maybe.
maybe just sitting
They
like that on listening.
at 12 o'clock, this is what we were like, and at 12:15, we were on the other side.
Oh, I love it.
No, I think obviously it is important to have after giving a message so big, you need to have
Mm,
fun and you need to laugh. And obviously, having readings with you myself, sometimes they are heavy, and then you sit after and have a cup of tea and have a bit of a laugh, and you've taken
yeah,
what you needed from that session, and you have to move on and take what you've given. Um,
absolutely.
But do you find that you have a common theme within your messages? Like you get certain people with um, the same situations going on in their life all the time, or
I do.
what do you find?
So, if I look back now, I find that people that need a direct message come to me.
Hmm.
People that have lost children
Hmm.
seem to come my way, and people that have had somebody pass from suicide. seem to come to me. Not
Right.
all the time, but I do get, they seem to be the three themes that, and it's interesting when I look back, it's people that have lost sons.
Right.
Not always, but the majority is people that have lost sons that come to me. And I don't feel like they come, I think spirit bring them to me because I know I have sons and I have such a connection with my boys that I feel that it, it has a place within me where, you know, I can understand what it's like to love a child so fearlessly,
Mhm.
fiercely, fiercely. That's,
Fiercely.
yeah, that's it. So that they're the three themes I seem to get.
Right. Okay. Do you think that is something that you asked for it in a prior life or where we are before we come here? Do you think that's something that you're able to teach because of the way you are, or something that was on your path?
So I would say normally, I don't know, but actually coming to understand myself more now over the last
Mhm.
couple of years, I think I would have picked that because I challenge myself so very much all the time. And I think that I would have picked something that's very, very raw to make sure that I got it 100% correct. Because I'm
Right.
very, very harsh with my readings with myself. Sometimes Mick said to me, how did that reading go? And sometimes I go, oh, it was buzzing, but absolutely brilliant that she got everything she needed, or he got everything he needed. I did one for a lady the other day, and she were happy with the reading. There were nothing wrong. She didn't give me any sign that she wasn't happy. She said it were all fine. I'd got loads of evidence for her. And my husband said to me, how did it go? And I went, I don't feel like that were my best at all. And he said, well, it sounded very well. You were telling me this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But to me, I was very critical of my own reading because I wanted it to have that massive, oh, wow. And I think that's my ego side, but that's the
Yeah.
part of me that's like, she took everything she needed from that reading. I asked Spirit after, they were like, she got everything she needed. She told me she had, but I feel like my ego side went, well, you're waiting for that big wow again. And
Mm.
there were no need for it really at all. So going back to the question, yes, I feel like my soul self would have said, right, really challenge yourself this time and let's have people that are, you know, from the worst situations, you can give them that bit of guidance.
Yeah. I thought you would.
Yeah.
The way you are with your personality. Go big or go home, and that is
Go
obviously.
big or go home, Jodie. Love it.
Um, can you offer us any insight into what connecting with spirit feels like for you?
Feels like. So physically or like, so
Anything you want to
when
tell
I,
us?
when I connect with spirit, I get this overwhelming sensation of that's just exactly where we should be. So inside me goes like, and then I always get this like little palpitation where that little, you know, when you're a kid and you're in trouble and you're getting that little turn in your tummy, like, oh, when I get in, my mum's gonna go mad. It's like that. I get that feeling. And it took me ages to figure out that were actually spirit connection. So physically, I do get that. I get a lot of clairsentience, though. They make me feel a lot of emotion. They make me feel a lot of like physical, like aches or shortness of breath or that sort of thing. But feeling, I can't give you the feeling as any better than the most settled, peaceful feeling you could ever imagine, that you just know you're in the right place at the right time and you're going to pass that spirit message on to somebody else.
Interesting. Obviously, I come to development class, so I know that it's different for everyone else. But I
Mm,
don't think I've actually ever heard you say how it feels for you when you connect.
yeah.
Heard you say about like the feeling, but
Yes.
not like the peaceful moments. That's quite
It's like it's almost like I don't know how to explain that. It's almost like when I know I've got, like, let's say your granddad or somebody's son or something like that. It's like now here we go, thank you. And it's just a real, like, oh, there we go. It all just feels just right. It's just normal. It's just exactly how it should be. But sometimes it gets me quite, like, giddy, so it makes me laugh a little bit. And that's obviously a spirit connection as well. It's when your vibration's raised and they don't have to come down so far because you're going up. So we've met in the middle. But I get, like, I go, and I do this, and I can't myself doing it, and I go, it's like that. It's like a right high pitch giggle, and I'm like, what are you doing? But it's more, almost like a giddiness, like, oh, we're having another conversation. It's like that, a bit childish, and I can't help it. And I feel like sometimes it depends on what type of spirit you get. So if we had a male that were quite didn't really communicate well, or were a bit like traditional, that sort of thing, I almost like breaking the ice, because it's like some people say, oh, my dad were a right pain in the bum. You know, he didn't bloody talk like this. He wouldn't talk about that. Yeah, but he's just told me. So it's almost like a thing for me as well, a bit more of not a competition by any means, but a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like it. Great.
Lovely.
Have you, on the back of that then, have you ever had someone where you've just not been able to get them a message, like spirit have just point blankly refused, or they aren't open to actually having a message even though they're there?
I once had a lady sat in front of me, and she sat with legs out in front of her. So she leaned back in chair, legs out in front of her. She crossed her arms like this, and she's like, and she's almost tapping her feet like she was bored of me before I even spoke. And I was like, you're right. You've come to me, you've paid me money to come here, and you look like you want to have a fight with me or something. You know what I mean? It was a bit like that. And I was like, everything all right? She's like, yeah. She said, I just don't know what you're going to tell me. She says, because, you know, there's not really a lot going on in my life. And then I reeled all this stuff off. She was like, no. And it was all a bit like that. And it ended up, I said, look, as if this isn't working, it's absolutely fine. Let's just take your money back and you get your sent off home and, you know, have a cup of tea and what have you. And she was like, no, it's just that, you know, there ain't really a lot going on in my life. And then proceeded to reel off everything I'd told her and tell me I was right about everything that I'd told her. And I was like, well, all right, I thought we were going to end up in some sort of argument here, because you seemed awkward as heck. And then we're like, no, yeah. And then we're like, well, yeah, I can take that, when it had all finished. And I was like, I don't really understand. But that's the only one that really sticks out to me. There were another lady who, and I could tell she was getting annoyed with me, but there were another lady who we connected for a read. Now, readings are normally about 45 minutes. We've got 30 minutes in. I've got a mum and dad through, discussed all sorts of stuff going on in their life. She was like, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I feel like you feel right impatient with me. I said, is there something wrong? And all of a sudden, I got this bloke that went, you're not giving her who she wants. I said, is there somebody else you'd like to speak to? She went, yes, there is, and you're not telling me who it is. Right. Well, I says, look, but I could tell she was so frustrated, and I were getting a bit like, well, I wanted this person so much, and it were all getting a bit awkward. There were 15 minutes left at reading. I said, look, tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to end this call now. I said, then tomorrow we'll reconvene. I'll go away, try and figure out who you're trying to get. I said, and then you can obviously try to get her to calm down a little bit because she was getting so worked up. Anyway, as it happened, there was I can't really say, but there was something that happened in between that made it so somebody told me who she wanted through. And then I had to tell them, when I said, look, I'm really sorry. I already knew you want, and it's not come from spirit, it's come from another person. I don't feel comfortable reading for you now, because I know that who you're looking for and exactly what's happened to this person. And I feel like I'd be lying to you because I pre-know the information. And she went, I totally understand. And I passed on another medium's information to her so that she could have another reading. But that I really felt uncomfortable with that one. But other than that, I don't think they've ever stopped me reading for somebody or I've refused when I'm there.
No, I suppose that's because people are coming to you because they need it, rather
That's
than it
it.
just being
Yeah,
a passerby who's just interested.
that's it. It's not like a fashion accessory. It's not like we're coming to have my eyelashes done because I want them to look nice. It's
Yeah.
because people are in need of like healing or some confirmation or some guidance or that sort of thing.
Do you think that people's attitude towards you is because they're skeptical, or do you think it's because they don't want to give anything away to you?
I
If
think,
you're giving a reading and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, yeah, 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 and that's given to you that you're right and that you're along the right
yeah,
lines. Do you think people hold themselves back because they don't want to give you that energy because they want to see what else you've got to say?
yeah, I think some of it is. I think some of it is a little bit of skepticism. I had a lady a little while ago and she came to me and a friend was sat across and she said, she said, oh, I'm going to have a reading, but then my friend might want a reading. So you were skeptic? She went, well, I said, that's fine. I said, I'll have you here next. Anyway, she came over next. Well, to say she wasn't a skeptic when she left Jodie, I was like, yeah, we've got her. Do you know what I mean? But I was made up. But yes, I do think it's right. Some people are like, I'll wait to see what you've got to say. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there that do this that give mediums, spirit workers, healers a really bad name. You only have to look on telly, don't you? And you get the same mundane stuff like, oh, I feel like it's a male figure. Well, who is it? Is it your dad? Is it your granddad? Is it my Uncle Tom? Who is it?
Mm,
I feel like once you start to be a bit specific and you can give evidence, people warm to you very quickly. It's when it's so open that people can't, it's like, well, that could be for anybody. It's like saying, oh, they're giving me the colour blue. Well, that's great. What does it
yeah,
mean? Is it my favourite colour? Is it a colour of my car? What is the colour blue? Is it my throat? What? Tell me what it's about. And it's all right just throwing random words out there. People need to know what it is you're talking about. So
yeah,
yes, I do think some of it's skepticism, and some of it is, people process. I remember reading for a woman, and she never moved her face all the way through, and I'm thinking, is she enjoying this? Is she not? What's going on? And end up, she went, it were perfect. That she's absolutely bang on. She says, I can't tell you anything. She says, I'm just processing what you said. She
yeah,
said, I'll speak to you afterwards. I said, that's absolutely fine. But at one point, I thought she's going to say, this is absolute rubbish. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's the processing as well. So there is an air of skepticism, absolutely. Some people are like, well, what can you tell me I don't already know? What can you guide me with? Some people know their answers and they just need a confirmation.
yeah. Had a few of those myself.
Yeah.
No, I think, yeah, I for me, I get quite emotional in readings, so
Yes.
to sit there and I probably look like I'm pulling funny faces because 'cause I'm trying to hold tears in or like trying not to give anything away
Yeah.
because if you say one word, I'm about to burst. Uh,
Yeah.
but obviously that is a side of mediumship that is bound to come through when you're connecting to the other side.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
do you always carry a box of tissues?
So there's not, well, if you come to me reading, it's more kitchen roll. We've gone up market here. It's the 3-ply kitchen roll. It's the good stuff we have here. It's the Chriselle. Um, but yeah, I must admit, and again, ego thing, I do like a crier.
Mm,
You know what I like though? I like it when people feel so safe within the space, the sacred space we've created with spirit, that they can release totally. So some people come where they've been holding it in, holding it together, holding it up for everybody else. They've been holding it up for family. They've been holding it up for kids. They've been doing this and that. And they come and they go, and they set off and they go, I'm so sorry, I don't even know I'm crying. Well, it doesn't matter why you're crying, does it? You need a release. So I'll pass you a piece of Chriselle. You only get one because it's expensive. But I'm joking. If you need two, you can have it. I'll pass you a piece of kitchen roll and you can release as much as you want, sat with me in sacred space while we talk about what it is that you need to talk about.
yeah.
So, yes.
No, I've had quite a few pieces of that kitchen roll.
Good stuff, Jodie. Good stuff is
I'm probably
that.
the only one. Does it feel like a huge responsibility to you when you're delivering these messages? Obviously, some of these messages you're giving are, or advice that you're getting from spirit, is potentially life changing for someone.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a huge responsibility to you?
It does, but do you know what? Right, it does. Afterwards, sometimes I think, oh gosh, I hope that works out right for her. Or I know it will because Spirit have given it me. I haven't made it up myself.
Yeah.
But when I'm saying things sometimes, because I know it comes from Spirit, it's like just spoken out. So half the time, I've said it before. I know what I've said. So it can only be from Spirit. So it can only be guidance
Yeah.
from their Spirit family or the friends or what have you. So like I said, though, if I've said so, I would never tell anybody to do anything with the finances. I would never tell anybody to do anything that would be like, leaving a partner or anything like that. I would never, even if Spirit gave it me, I would never say it like that. I would never say, oh, well, your mum's saying, you and your husband aren't working out, leave him. I would never say anything like that.
No.
What I would say is, though, like, mum's giving me that perhaps there's been a rough patch between you and your husband or you and your wife or what have you. And perhaps that's an area of your life you need to look at and plan whether it's working out. But I would never, tell him to leave somebody. So really big things like that, I wouldn't put it across that it were needed to be done now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would always give people what Spirit are giving me, but I would word it in such a way that didn't make them go, oh, well, I'm going home now to leave my husband because my mum's just said. Because Spirit wouldn't do it like that. Does that make
No.
sense?
Yeah.
It is a big responsibility, and the thing is that we're talking to people that have passed, we're talking to people that are grieving, we're talking to people that have had a big traumas in their life, and that is a big responsibility. Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to know your view on that one.
Yes.
Um, so do you feel that your life would have been, how do I word this? As fulfilled as it is now, had you not have taken on spirituality?
No, I think I would always be looking for something.
Right.
Always. I remember always feeling like there was a void, there was a need for something, there was something more coming. I needed to. I always felt like there were definitely something missing. There were definitely something that I was supposed to do that I wasn't doing. And I remember when I was little saying to somebody, "Well, I'll talk to people when they've died. I'll talk to people that have died."
Yes, you
Yeah, you
do.
don't say stuff like you. That's what I mean. You don't say stuff like that. I remember it all being falling on like deaf ears, going, "Oh, all right, love, yep, yep." Anyway, what you having for your tea? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But if I genuinely believe that if I hadn't have done this, then I would still be looking to fulfill something that I didn't know what it was.
Right. Okay. I think that's I think that answered definitely the question anyway.
Yes.
Um, right, to make sure that we aren't here for 12 episodes, tonight anyway. I
Yeah.
know there's definitely more episodes to come, and there is
Yeah.
definitely way more to come from Guide to Spirituality,
Yes.
from what I've heard in my voice notes just today.
Yeah.
Um, I know you're gonna ask this to lots of your other guests that you've got coming. What do you think your guardian angel is most tired of seeing you do?
So I don't know. There, look. So probably voice note you every 5 minutes. Probably that. Like,
Oh, that's
oh,
my guardian angel.
honestly, I think my guardian angel, my spirit guide, what have you. I think the one thing that they would be sick of me doing is uh, either doubting myself
Mhm.
or being impatient.
Yes.
It's the impatience that has always been my biggest downfall and is still to this day. I'm better at it than what I was, But to this day, I still feel like everything that I'm going to achieve within my lifetime, and I'm going to live well into my 80s because I want to see great grandchildren. Everything that I'm going to achieve well into, in the whole of my life, I feel like
Yeah.
I need it by about next Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is the biggest thing that I have to work on. And that's going to be one of my big life lessons.
Yeah. That
So
is
they'll
definitely
probably
something
sit
you do
there
need to.
going like this, going, oh, is she voice noting her again? Will she knock it off?
She's already discussed this week, and she
Yeah.
can't do it in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day, Stacey Bauer.
Yeah, but it were built fairly quick for Rome, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? If I could just get some more guides on, and we could just, we could just do it all together right quick. Saying that, if we're all done quick, I'd be like, what's next? What's next?
Yeah, it wouldn't ever stop because you do complete things and you get things done, and then there's something else. I'm like, where has that come from? Who is giving her these ideas? I'm going back to Spirit, like, excuse me, can
Yeah.
I have 5 minutes?
Can I speak to human resources, please? Because this is not going to keep working like this.
No.
Oh.
Is there anything you want to mention for what's to come for Guide to Spirituality before we finish?
So there are, as you know, Jodie, a lot of, I've actually got up here, and I can't see it, but on my wall here, there is my yearly planner. I've taken over a whole wall in my house. There's a
Yes.
yearly planner that is full. And what I'm doing is dedicating each month to something that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
How next month looks absolutely crackers. July doesn't look much different either. But there are a lot of things that will be coming that have been in the making for a long time. There's a lot of new products coming. There are a lot of, there's the retreats next year. There's the 2 retreats next year.
Yeah.
There
Excited for
might
those.
be, there might be one at the end of this year. I'm not so sure.
You've not mentioned that previously, Stacey.
Just so you know, just to let you know.
Is this my voice note of the evening?
This is your voice note, Jodie. So there's also some more training to do. I think the trance mediumship will very much be coming round this year. I've had quite a few sessions of readings and healings where my voice has changed through the readings.
Oh,
yeah, so I was talking to Annie Comboy a couple of days ago, and I feel like, there's definitely some more training to do there. There's some other training to do in June, and that's going to be a little bit of a secret just for now till we can get that sorted.
yeah.
And then who knows, Jodie? Who knows? I'm open to alt.
You are. You
I'm
definitely
open
are.
to alt.
Well, it sounds like an exciting couple of months to come anyway.
Yes.
And I will be ready on hand.
Be ready,
when
Jodie.
needed.
Get your pens and your papers and your dibbers and your dabbers ready because here we go.
Well, as soon as Bert can write, we'll have him making notes.
I'm on the FaceTime. Come on, Bert, tell her.
Just sit down here and write this down. Right. Well, it's been nice to actually hear a bit about you tonight.
Yes,
We chat
thank
a
you
lot.
very much.
There's some things that I don't get to hear all the time when we get
Yes.
caught up in the madness of life.
Voice notes.
Perfect.
That's great. Thank you very much, Jodie. You're an absolute star.
Anytime. I look forward to the next episode.
Yes, thank you.
Tomorrow.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.